Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. I'm really, really excited to share these mindset changes, mindset shifts, I guess just mindsets in general that I have adopted for myself along my journey very naturally. They're not really things that I set out to do or ways that I set out to think, but they are things that I have started to adopt in ways that I have started to talk to myself and ways that I've started to think throughout this journey that have really, really helped me. And I hope they help you too. This is my 8th time trying to record this episode. I'm recording on my MacBook microphone. So we hope that this sounds okay instead of my really, really nice, professional, amazing microphone because it, for some reason, will just not sync today. So it's just not my day. But here we are showing up imperfectly perfect and consistent, just like I tell you guys to do. So here we are. And it's just been really frustrating because I was so excited to sit down and record this episode and then nothing was aligning properly. So I just really hope that this sounds okay because of the knowledge, and I just feel like it's going to be really good information for you. So how this episode came about is I was looking through my notes on my phone to just try to think about what I wanted to talk about in today's episode and get some inspiration and look through challenges that my clients were having, challenges that I was having. And when I have an epiphany or just something that I think, oh, that would be great for the podcast, I just write down notes in my phone. And there were 4 things that stuck out to me that were mindset shifts that I've made. And I thought I can just lump these together into one amazing episode. And I think these tips will really, really help you to think differently. Ultimately, if you can think differently than you're thinking now, and if you can think differently than the majority of the population who is maybe not sitting in their dream body, maybe not as healthy as they want to be, then you're going to set yourself apart. But it has to start with how you think. A lot of this, we talk about unfucking your fitness, we talk about training, we talk about steps, we talk about water, and all of the things that are so important physically. But a lot of times these simple shifts are left out. And another thing that I want to say before I get into these mindset shifts that I've adopted, or just mindsets, I guess. Well, I guess they're shifts because it's not how I was thinking originally when I first started this journey, is that these came about later for me when I was first starting my fitness journey and just getting into all of the things that matter physically that I just mentioned. This stuff wasn't on my radar. So this is a very natural progression. I want you to remember that you should not compare yourself to anyone else physically, anyone else mentally, or anyone else where they are in their journey is not the same as where you are in your journey. So if you're like, wow, I don't know how I'm going to get to this mentality, Christy, or that sounds like something I haven't even thought of for myself yet, it's okay. But also I want to challenge you because if someone would have told me about these things early on in my journey, I probably would have thought the same thing. I would have thought, no, I'm not there yet. But knowing now, I wish I would have known that then. And I wish I would have really taken these things to heart because they will really, really help you. And yes, you'll fail. And yes, you'll suck at it. And yes, it will be imperfectly imperfect at first. But the more consistent you are, right? Habits are, it's just something you have to keep doing. You have to practice. You have to fall down. You have to get back up. You have to keep going. But these are things that I just think if you can really start to think differently, damn, you will be just so much further ahead of yourself now and everyone else. And it'll really just be a game changer for you. So these are simple mindset shifts that I've adopted that make consistency feel easy. So when I get asked a lot, how are you so consistent? How do you say it's simple? You say it's kind of easy. Like it's not easy for me, Christy. How are you saying that, right? It feels like an identity to me. And it feels like standards that I've chosen for myself because they've so naturally become a part of my life. Yeah, they were uncomfortable at first. And yeah, I thought, I don't really believe this yet, what I'm about to get into. But I have to pretend like I believe it. I have to become the person that believes it. And the only way I can do that is by saying that I do and just keep saying it and keep doing it and keep showing up. But these things are what have really helped me to level up my training, level up my macros, level up my mindset, level up my day-to-day follow through, and just my ability to pick myself back up so fast after I've fallen or, done something incorrectly. Like it doesn't faze me. And I promise you, these 4 mindset shifts are exactly what helped me with that. So if you're constantly starting over, and also if you are newer at this. A lot of my new clients, like 4 to 6 weeks in, my one-on-one clients, or even my Fit Club ladies, I don't talk to my Fit Club ladies as much as I talk to my one-on-one clients. That's why I always say my one-on-one clients first. But they come to me, 4 to 6 weeks in, struggling. Like, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to become someone that does this, but I'm just not doing it yet. Like, I'm not doing well. I don't feel like I'm doing a good job. I feel like I'm failing at this. And yeah, you're gonna feel like you're failing at this. I didn't feel like I was doing an amazing job at any of this either on the first day or the first week or the first 4 to 6 weeks. So if you're feeling this way, that's totally normal. But these are also things that are going to help you. These are simple, but they're not soft. This is going to be some tough love. This does require ownership. This does require a little aggression with yourself, a little obsession. And I'm just excited. So let's get into it. So, shift number one is to stop saying I want to or I'm trying to, and to start saying I am. Language creates identity, behavior. So, the way that you talk to yourself, the way that you talk about yourself, that creates who you are. Because if you just keep saying, I want to track my macros, I'm trying to track my macros, it leaves space for you to bail. It leaves space for it to become optional. Instead of, I am someone who tracks my macros. I am tracking my macros today, period. If it's the last thing I do, I'm tracking my macros today, right? I am strong. I am consistent. Like, you have to start saying those things instead of, I'm trying to be consistent. Like, a while back, I talked about the coffee shop analogy where you wouldn't go into a coffee shop and say, I want a coffee, but I don't want it to be, whatever. You wouldn't say, I don't want this and I don't want this and I don't want that. Just like you wouldn't say, I want it to be kind of hot. I want it to be kind of sweet. No, like, I know exactly what I want. The same thing applies here. I want to get fit. I want to work out today. I'm going to try to work out today. I'm going to try to track my macros. I'm going to try to hit my macros, Christy. No, like, you are going to work out today, whether something else has to give, whether someone has to help you, whatever it is. I am doing this. I am capable. I am whatever it is. Okay. If you're constantly trying to do something, it leaves that exit door. It leaves space for it to be optional, and it's not optional. When it becomes not optional, that's when it really changes. When you are sick and tired of being sick and tired of what you look like, what you feel like, saying I'm going to do this shit and you're not doing it, it's a decision. It's not a debate. It's not optional. It's not like, oh, I'm going to try to get up tomorrow morning. I'm going to get up tomorrow morning. And then you have to do it. Okay. This applies to everything. This applies to tracking your food, your workouts, your steps, your morning routine, consistency, budgeting, skincare, rest, working, getting ready for the day, whatever it is, organizing your home, being a more organized person, right? These are all things. I am someone who prioritizes skincare. I want to age gracefully. I am someone who rests. I am someone who gets off their phone at 6 p.m. I am someone who cooks my own dinners. I am someone who intentionally spends time with my kids. Just say that, right? You can't say I'm going to or I'm going to try to. You have to say I am. So it takes a minute. It takes a while before you really even start to say that. And it takes even a little bit longer for you to believe it, but you have to start. Okay. And I do that with my clients constantly when they say, I'm going to try to be consistent this weekend. No, you are going to be consistent this weekend. In the body recomp challenge that we have going on right now on Thursdays, I have them tell me what they're going to do over the weekend that is going to keep them one step closer to their goal. Are you going to hit steps? Are you going to track your food? Are you going to get every single workout in? Are you going to say no to something? Tell me exactly what you're going to do. Now, I'm going to try to stay on track this weekend. I'm going to track my food this weekend. So I know how I did. So Christy, you know how I did. And they have done so well with it. So fucking well with it. Actually, it's been really, really game changing. So we're going to keep that around. But that is shift number one, is to stop saying I'm trying to or I want to become. It's I am. Shift number two is to put space between the urge and the action. This is something that I had done and I've heard it. This is a more eloquent way to put it than how I was kind of putting it, but I heard it said like this and I thought, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing, is just taking a second before I act on what I think I want. So put space between the urge and the action, delay the response, delay the action. So you don't have to give in to every single urge. You don't have to say yes to every party. You don't have to eat every Cadbury egg that you want to eat. You don't have to skip every workout that you say you want to skip. Like, you don't have to do those things. Most urges have a wave. And if you pause, they pass. They might come up again later. It might be a better time, right? If I have an urge to eat a Cadbury egg all day long, I can't. Unfortunately, I can't. I have to save them for certain times of the day. So if you delay the response, you delay the action. That's a power move. And that's what I love about it, is that you can have an urge, right? I just really want these cookies. They're sitting right here on the counter. My husband brought them home. I hear this all the time from my clients. That's why I'm saying it. My husband brought home X, Y, and Z, and I really want it, and it's sitting on the counter. You have to give yourself a minute. You're like, oh, I just ate it. It was sitting there and I just grabbed it and I ate it, and then I had another one and I had another one. I get it. I've been there. But the problem is that you saw it and you did it. If you can put a little time, a little space between what you want, that cookie, well, what you think you want, that cookie, and what you really want. And if you really want the cookie, you can have it, but you have to delay the response. So it's often food related, cravings, snacking, emotional eating, especially wanting to skip or quit a workout. But it also applies to skipping workouts. It also applies to doom scrolling. It also applies to impulse spending. Practical ways to create that space in between to delay is for me, for eating wise, I'll open the cupboards and I see my Oreos, or I see my Cadbury eggs, or I see anything, because nothing in that cupboard is really great that I can just grab, the particular cupboard that I'm talking about. If I walk away, I just shut the cupboard and say, I'll come back in a little bit. Or I walk away and drink some water. I walk away and do some laundry. I walk away and go outside for a minute. I set a 10-minute timer. I start watching a TV show, whatever it is. I like the timer because this applies to the food, right? Do I still want this 10 minutes from now? If so, maybe have it. If not, then walk away. It also applies, actually, this morning. I started my workout and I didn't really feel great. I felt weak. I'm like, this is just so frustrating. I'm sick of feeling sore and weak, and it is what it is. But eventually I started to feel really strong. About my second set, I thought, well, okay, this is getting better. Third set, I was killing it. I felt great. I even went for a little run on my treadmill afterwards. So it was the same thing. I thought, well, if I would have just said, well, this workout is sucking, or just going to quit. No, I said, let's give it 10 minutes. Work your ass off for 10 minutes. And if you still don't feel like it's doing much benefit, then we could just get on the treadmill or something. But it was the same thing. I set a timer literally on my phone for 10 minutes and pushed through. And then when that timer went off, I thought, oh, I'm actually doing so much better. And I've gotten half my workout in, basically. So the 10-minute applies to waiting, and it also applies to just keep doing the thing. And if you still don't want to do it 10 minutes later, then take another inventory, right? And then also you can ask yourself, what am I actually needing right now? Okay, if those cookies are sitting there and I really, really want one, maybe I can just have a protein shake with it. So I'm having a cookie, but I'm also balancing it with some protein so that I'm not wanting another one, another one, and another one. So getting a little more balanced macros rather than just having cookie after cookie after cookie. I also did that this week. So trust me, not perfect, and it won't happen every single time. And it's not supposed to. You're supposed to enjoy a cookie or 5. It's fine. But pausing is a skill. And skills are something that have to be trained. We're not born with all of the skills that we currently have. You have to train them. We have to acquire them. You have to want them. You have to train. You have to work at them. It's always a work in progress. And these skills are exactly the same way. So remember, when you fail at something, or if you're like, oh, I just ate the cookie and I said I wasn't going to do that, right? You said, I am not someone who eats impulsively. And then you turn around and eat impulsively and you're like, I just said, don't beat yourself up. Just remember, it is a skill and you're just not great at it yet, but you will be. This is also something that has helped me. So shift number 3 is to eat like an athlete and to think like an athlete. And we can also go further into train like an athlete. This is kind of another take on, for me, another mental shift in the way that I spoke to myself was food is fuel. And that really helped me to remember that it doesn't have to be pretty all the time. It doesn't have to be different all the time. It doesn't have to be, my meals don't have to be beautiful and beautifully plated and different dinner every single night. Food is fuel for my body. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it looks like. I need to hit a certain amount of macros if I want to look and feel my best. And that's what I want. And that's what I will do. And then a shift on that. So I started to say, food is fuel. Food is fuel. You can have this. It's fuel for your body. You need it. And then kind of a level up from that was eating like an athlete, thinking like an athlete. I would see athletes on my social media, my Instagram pop up, and I'm like, man, they are just so structured and they work so hard and they think differently. They think I need fuel for my body. They also think I need to go work. I need to train. And that's where kind of the word training came into play. It wasn't like, I'm going to go work out. It's more like, I'm going to train today. They are training for something. And when you think of it like that, it becomes not optional as well. Because if I miss training my legs that day, my legs aren't going to grow. If I miss the workout where I'm training my chest is going to not grow. I can't have these big muscular arms that I want, literally talking to myself, if I don't train them. I have to eat like an athlete to fuel my muscles. I have to train like an athlete to grow my muscles. I have to think like an athlete. This is training program. I have to show up. I have to do what is scheduled for me. I have to follow this plan. And then kind of along with that, it also, as I entered my and my body changed. I won't say it went downhill necessarily, but it changed. And I thought, I'm going to have to work harder at this because my muscle mass, it's taking more work and more weight resistance to grow muscle. It's taking less time to put on fat. So I'm going to have to like double my effort. My training has to be pretty serious. Now, don't get me wrong. You're probably thinking, Christy, you are not an athlete, you silly girl. The Olympics were just on. Like, you wish. And thank you for putting me in my place if you think that. But I want to be clear. I'm not thinking of myself as an athlete necessarily. I don't think like, oh yes, I'm an amazing athlete. I just think like an athlete. Okay. Athletes appreciate their body. Athletes show up for themselves. Athletes are disciplined. They take it seriously. They're respected. They have clarity. They have pride. They're very capable. They're very strong. They have purpose. Like if you just think about the training that goes into it, right? We just wrapped up basketball season for my son. He was training specifically for basketball. He did basketball workouts. They did basketball training. They did basketball drills. It's basketball. And he's training for that like an athlete. If I want to become stronger in my lifts, I have to train in those lifts. And I have to, it just mentally, it helps me to say, I'm an athlete. I'm not skipping training today. I am someone who does this. I am like an athlete, or I am going to treat myself like an athlete, right? And I think for me, it's a lot about that self-talk, that respect, that clarity, that pride of this is who I am and this is what I do. And I'm going to show up as such. So that's just kind of different levels of how that took it on for me. Also, as I was watching the Olympics, honestly, when they failed at a jump or failed at something or fell down, they got back up and they moved right along. And yeah, some of them cried, of course. Like some of them were pissed and sad. And it's obviously that's a bigger deal than missing a workout, right? But then I think about them when they did have to miss a workout or they did become presented with something, they were sick or whatever it is. Maybe they had to go somewhere and eat off a little bit off of their fueling plan, right? Their nutrition plan. I don't think that they thought of it as optional. It was like, this is my plan and this is helping me go to this end goal. And this is exactly what I'm going to do. And if they missed a workout, I think they just got right back up and did it the next day. Like, I don't think that they dwell on those things. They're like, I'll get it again in 4 years. If I didn't get the gold or I didn't make the podium like I wanted, I'll see you in 4 years. And it's back to the drawing board. It's back to showing up. And so I just think that mentality is so cool. And I just respect the shit out of that. So I think that was just something that when I just kind of liked that training mentality and the way that that causes me to show up differently. And then shift number 4 is what doesn't get tracked doesn't get changed. So this is something that I used to struggle with, is tracking your food, tracking your workouts. It can be both. And I work with clients a lot on both, tracking your workouts and tracking your food. A lot of people come to me, tracking makes me obsessed. I have to take a break from it. Absolutely. I understand that mentality. Or I don't want to track. It takes a long time. Whatever the opposition is against tracking, mainly food, but it can be for workouts too. Like, I just don't want to track my workouts. I don't want to count the reps. I don't want to write down every single dumbbell that I lift. Okay. But then when your body doesn't change, or you don't lose weight, or you gain weight, or the opposite happens, the opposite of what you want to happen happens, you can't complain about it because complaining is not a strategy. Okay. And this helped me a lot to look at tracking differently. So when I've talked about how it took me a couple different times to learn how to track my macros and count my macros and set my macros to be able to get to the place where I did it. What do I want to say? With a good mindset, right? I did it first. I was just eating out of containers and then I was tracking my macros, but I didn't have a target. I was just tracking them. And then I started to track them and fit any food into it, anything, right? You can log anything and hit your macros. And then I started to track them by just eating clean. And so I did it so many different times with different mentalities and goals. And when I looked at it as something that was like, I can't change it if I don't track it. But when I track it, I have to just look at it as information, as literal awareness, just knowledge of what I'm putting in my body. And then on the workout side, I have to track it because how will I know how much volume I'm lifting in a week if I don't track it and add it up? How will I know if I'm progressing in these lifts if I don't pay attention to how much weight I'm lifting and for how many reps I'm lifting it for? How will I know how many miles I've ran if I just go out and run, right? So you have to track and I just love that. What doesn't get tracked doesn't get changed. When people come to me and they're like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, well, what are you doing? What is your current workouts? What is your current movement intake? And they don't know. I don't know what you're doing wrong because you're not keeping track of what you're even doing. So I love it when someone comes to me in a one-on-one call or something and, they have all the information, all the data, and they just look at it as data. No judgment, just this is what I've been doing. This is what I've been eating, help. And I can help from there, right? But data does create change. A lot of times it creates that awareness of, oh, I thought I was eating X amount of calories. Now that I logged and tracked everything, I'm really not eating X amount of calories. Or I thought I was progressively overloading, but week to week to week, I'm lifting the exact same weight volume wise. Maybe I increased my dumbbells, but I then lowered reps for too long. And now I'm lifting the exact same volume with the exact same intensity. And nothing's happening. What doesn't get tracked doesn't get changed. Plain and simple. Bitching about it doesn't count. Unfortunately, bitching about something isn't going to change it. Okay, you have to track it. You have to take action on it. And not taking the time to track and not taking the time to be responsible enough to give a shit, honestly, about your body I just think it's irresponsible. It gets to the point where it's irresponsible because you keep complaining about it. If someone doesn't want to track their macros, but they're happy with how they are and they're not complaining about their body or their health or how they feel, I don't care. Carry on. But when people complain, and this can go for anything in life, right? Your job, your relationships, your kids and disciplining, anything. If people are just complaining and complaining and complaining, you're like, eventually you're like, do something about it. Why are you still complaining about this? Complaining doesn't count. It's nice sometimes, right, to vent, and it's nice to listen, and it's nice to provide that space of getting it out. But at the end of the day, down the line, you're like, okay, I've had enough, right? And even that applies to yourself. Done that before. I'm like, I'm so frustrated with myself. Nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. Well, literally, because nothing's changing, you're not changing anything. You keep tracking on Monday, you're starting over on Monday, and then you fall off all weekend. And then you start over on Monday, you're good till Thursday, and then you fall off track all weekend. And then you start over on Monday, and then you fall off by Thursday, and right? It's the same shit week after week after week, and you keep complaining about it. And you're like, I'm going to try again on Monday. I'm going to start again on Monday. And then you fall off. You do start again on Monday. I'm going to start again Monday. And you do. And then maybe you also fall off on Monday. You keep doing the same thing over and over. Track it. Track what you're eating. Track what you're doing. Maybe you're under eating. Maybe you're overeating. Maybe you just need to move more. Maybe you need to hire someone to help. We don't know is the thing. But not changing anything and then complaining, oh, I just keep falling off track every single weekend. Yeah. And unfortunately, complaining about it, do you really think that's going to change anything? Just complaining about it over and over and over and stating, I fall off track every single weekend. Yeah, now you've told yourself, I fall off track every single weekend. I'm just someone who lacks discipline. I'm not consistent. I don't have time. I don't have the money, right? All that negative just creeps in there. And then that's what you are. I'm too broke. I don't have enough time. I'm not organized enough. I'm not disciplined enough. I'm complaining. I fall off track every weekend. I don't know how to do this. Something has to change. You have to track what you eat to know what you are eating, to know what to change. You have to give yourself more grace or you're going to keep falling off track every weekend. If you are restricting too much during the week, you're going to fall off track every weekend. And if you're someone who does that, we need to figure out why, right? Complaining isn't a strategy. And eventually complaining just drives me so deep because I'm like, it is just so irresponsible to me to not just grab yourself by the shoulders and shake yourself and say, what are you actually doing? What are you doing to change this? If nothing, then shut up because you don't care enough, right? Your level of uncomfortability doesn't match your level of giving a fuck because you're not doing anything about it. And stop saying that, oh, I'm so frustrated about this. I just wish I could change. No, you don't because you're still buying the shit to eat. You're still not going to the gym. You don't care enough. And that's, again, fine. But it all comes back to that. You can't fix what you don't face. It's not really punishment. It's just awareness, right? It can be an awakening of like, I'm so close actually. If I'd quit giving up every weekend, I'd probably be fine. So, anyway, bitching doesn't change it. Tracking does change it. And it's just really, really good awareness. And so that really helped me when I was like, I'm just going to track because if I don't track it, I can't change it. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm doing okay, but I must not be because nothing's changing. So, those are the 4 shifts that I have made throughout my journey that have really, really helped. It's just ownership. It's no longer taking excuses. It's becoming a different person. And honestly, I heard this somewhere. I think it was on, it had to have been on Instagram. It's the only place I really am. But someone was saying you have to be borderline obsessed at times. You have to be borderline obsessed in the beginning of your fitness journey because if not, it won't be enough change. It won't be enough passion to drive you forward. And I feel like that sometimes, even now, even recently, I'm like, you kind of need to get obsessed again. You've given yourself a little too much grace. You need to start showing up. You need to start being better. I'm really good with skincare. I'm really good with, well, certain things. I won't get into everything that I'm good at, but there are also things that I'm really bad at. Hitting my steps lately, I've just been bad. And I had to set a new target for myself and just say, okay, we need to bring it down a little bit so that you feel like it's more achievable. But you also need to get off your ass, Christine, and go walk. Like there's no there's no excuses. Like quit complaining that you're not hitting your step goal if you're literally not walking. You're not taking steps. Like what are you doing? So to recap these, number 1 was the identity language of I am. Number 2 is create space and delay the urge. Number 3 is that athlete mindset, fuel and performance. And then number 4 was track it to change it. So pick one of these this week. If one of them feels like, yeah, I really need to take that on and I really need to try that, pick one of these this week and really go for it. I would love to hear in the comments on Spotify of this episode what you think, like if this made sense, if this resonates, and which one you're going to do this week. And I think not even this week, just start it this week, but carry it on forever, right? You don't have to do all 4 of these now. Write them down. I'll have a post about these on Instagram, of course, but really just take on one of these. If it's your language, if you're like, I am consistent, I am tracking my macros. Maybe that's all you say is I am tracking my macros, or I am getting in all my 4 workouts this week. Just stick with that one single thing week after week after week. And I think it will really, really help you. Remember, your results don't come from motivation. It comes from standards. And ultimately, talking to yourself like, I am freaking amazing. I am a badass. I can do this. And then also controlling your urges. And then also acting like an athlete and treating your body like it's a performing machine, right? And it deserves nice things. And then also tracking what you're doing. Like those are standards. Those are ultimately all standards that I have for myself that are now just so simple that I don't even think about it anymore. Like there's not another way for me to think, but that's because I've naturally adopted these tendencies, these mindsets, and now it's just second nature. So I'm excited to hear your guys' thoughts on this. And I was just really excited to record this. And I think it's going to be really, really helpful. So let me know which one was your favorite, if you liked this episode. And I'll talk to you guys next week.